Information discussion action to approve the Superior Court submission of the fiscal year 24 Fill the Gap grant application to the Administrative Office of the Courts for enhanced criminal case scanning in the amount of $5,795.02. Cassie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you, this is the Superior Court's Fill the Gap grant application. We apply for this grant annually since about 2015, I believe, and it fully funds the fees associated with supplemental scanners throughout our limited jurisdiction courts. The scanners provide for uploading of documents and exhibits into the court's case management system. That not only creates a digital file, but also archives our records as well. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey?
Mr. Chair, I have no questions.
Supervisor Christensen? Thanks, Cassie. That I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the submission of an FY24 Fill the Gap grant application in the amount of $5,795.02.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
On to E. Your mic. There you go. On to
I
E.
second that.
Okay, 4E, information discussion action to approve amendment number 1 to intergovernmental agreement contract number CTR 055997 with the Arizona Department of Health Services for COVID-19 health disparities, which includes an additional allocation of $275,000 for the period beginning June 1st, 21, and it extends the contract an additional year through May 31st, 24. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Chairman Klein, members of the board. So this was a grant from way back when COVID started that was supposed to be over. We spent all of our money, and the Department of Health Services reached out and said, hey, we have some extra money. And I said, hey, how much extra money? And they said, well, we can go up to $275,000. So I said, well, we'll take $275,000. There's a 10% indirect that we take on this for the county, plus there's no match for this grant. We're going to be looking at, I'm sure the board is aware, health disparities is can be a hot topic, but what we want to look at is public health is kind of going down this avenue of health disparities, and how do we, look at the people that don't have the same health outcomes as everyone else. And we're going to do a study out of this, probably with one of the universities, whichever one's bid on it, to look at what does health disparities mean in rural counties, and how do we best, gauge that issue. We're going to be doing a health disparities conference sometime in the second half of the fiscal year, so probably between like January and June of next year. One of the things we really liked is we're working on putting all the classes that we have, that we teach, that we do in the schools, and with the rotation that we have with staff in the health department and that the schools have with teachers. Sometimes it's hard to continue to have that relationship as well as we'd like it for all the teachers at the schools to be able to reach out to us. So one of the things we're doing is we've got incentives for, so every time anybody in any one of the schools want to teach any classes, we'll be not only excited to have it and teach those classes in the schools, but we'll be donating money into those classrooms to use our programs. So kind of a win-win that we can help these schools that need extra money and get the accomplishments that we need done as well. So a lot of good things out of this money, and there's a little bit of staffing for our health department in here as well. So.
Thank you, Josh. Supervisor Humphrey?
I'll just thank you, and I appreciate that that we're getting these funds, because a lot of people say, why does our budget keep going up and up and up? And a lot of it's because we get these grants to benefit the public, and it's not that we're raising taxes or anything to raise our yearly budget. It's because of these grants that we get that we have to show for in our budget, which in turn goes back to the community. So thank you very much, because with all that money, you just have to work harder to disperse it in a reasonable manner. So thank you very much for that.
Supervisor Christensen?
Yes, thank you, Josh. I have no questions.
So when you talk about disparities, Josh, give us an example.
So So I can tell, the easiest one to say is I can tell more about how long somebody's going to live and what kind of health outcomes they're going to have by their zip code than by any other factor about somebody. So if I know your zip code and I just want to look at the likelihood that someone in a zip code is going to live to 80 or 75 or 70 years old, I can tell you more by that than by your race, by your ethnicity, by your income, based on the zip code you were raised. So when we're looking at health disparities, we're saying, why is that and what are the things we can do to kind of level that playing field?
And so you're thinking about teaming up with the university to do this? Or,
Anyone that would be interested when we get to that point, yeah.
uh-huh, and then
I'm
there'll be a report that'll come out of that?
Correct.
And that'll
Yep.
come back to the board?
Correct.
Good deal. Thank you, Josh.
Yep.
Looks like you're gonna be with us for a while, too.
Yeah, I will.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve amendment number 1 to the Arizona Department of Health Services Intergovernmental Agreement, contract number CTR 055997 in the amount of $275,000 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor, do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. On to 4F, information, discussion, action to authorize advertisement of requests for proposals number 081523, Pleasant Valley Veterans Retreat Wastewater System. Josh?
So this is for the maintenance of the wastewater system. I spoke with our engineer Jake and Alex and Mr. O'Driscoll, and we all kind of came up with, do we want this to be an annual, the balance between what facilities would do and what we would do, and making sure, one of the things is, I think Supervisor Klein raised was, we were worried about the dumping, the RVs and stuff, and so we really wanted to come up with, so we came up with quarterly, seemed like the best. Whoever wins the RFP, they're going to present a quarterly report to us. So it's a little bit the maintenance that they're going to be doing and checking up to make sure that we're doing the maintenance we need to be doing, and hopefully we can keep the system in as good shape as we can.
Thank you, Josh. Supervisor Humphrey?
Mr. Chair, I have no questions.
Supervisor Christensen?
No, thank you, Josh. Yeah, we need to make sure we're maintaining the wastewater system. We put a lot of money into it. But, yeah, so this is just a request for proposal. I'd be interested to see how much that will cost. Thank you, Josh.
Josh, thanks for putting that together. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the advertisement for request for proposal number 081523.
I will second.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. On to G, information, discussion, action to adopt resolution number 23-09-03 to authorize an application for a Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan from the Water Infrastructure Authority of Arizona not to exceed $250,000. Josh?
Okay, this item. So, in August, we presented to the board that we are trying to get money from the Arizona Water Finance Infrastructure to replace cesspools. We turned that application in, and then we found out the next step to the application is to complete a debt resolution. The debt resolution is interesting because part of the reason we're interested in this funding is we said that we didn't want any funding that required us to incur any debt or for the homeowners to necessarily incur any debt because it's a 100% forgivable loan. The way their application system works is we have to go to the board with the debt resolution first. So I worked with Jessica and we went through the debt resolution that other counties have done with projects that are similar but weren't 100% forgivable, and we tried to come up with the best resolution we could that took out that kind of language. I think the most important thing to realize here, and Jessica can speak to this too if she wants when I'm done, is that we haven't received the grant documents, and when that time comes we will be looking over those, assuming that they offer us the grant that we're interested in. Then that's the time where we'll say, is this what we want? Is this what we determined with them? Are these all things we're okay with at that time? And then we could remove the debt resolution or it wouldn't apply. I don't know how that would work, would be a better question for you. But that's kind of where we're at with this was we did a lot of fighting back and forth and there was no way to move forward with the application without this. So I think we have a resolution that works for what it is we're looking for just to move the process along.
Thank you, Josh. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have a lot of questions, but I guess wait and see what the resolution looks like before I bring up a big old can of worms.
Chairman, member supervisors, the resolution is documents.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Josh. So, a lot of people may not understand that in order to get a grant, you have to do something before that, and that's what this is. We're not spending money today, but we're putting in place what's necessary in order to get the grant, and then we decide whether we actually want that.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is the first time that they've done this 100% forgivable loan process. So they're kind of working through the first time with us. So a lot of their processes are still based on how they would normally do things and not. I think we're going to be setting the trend for how this would go for them moving forward.
Well, there's a lot of cesspools in the county, and this doesn't really talk about other than cesspools. It's not like septic systems that just don't work anymore. It's cesspool problem.
Correct.
And so we need to work through that. So yeah, I appreciate you working through that. Thank you.
James?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I was just going to add that this is a new program, and so we're going to just have to feel our way through it. Probably more steps than just this one that Josh is going to have to back up and say, well, let's do this now. So, new program for us and for the state.
So Jessica, there's nothing in the fine print that's gonna hang us up?
Chairman, members, supervisors, so this is just a resolution basically to submit the application. The terms of accepting the loan are not included in the resolution because they have not been provided to the county at this point. So that's not anything that you're agreeing upon today. In essence, you know, let's say you get the terms back, you're not in agreement with that. You could rescind the resolution. There would really be no point because the purpose is to submit the application. That's part of the process that they have had. But with it being 100% forgivable loan, I wanted to see the terms myself. That's why we dug into it a bit further to see, you know, what are you asking exactly the board put in the resolution. So we've modified it to be just simply submitting the application.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Josh. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to adopt resolution number 23-09-03.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor, do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. On to H. Information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 3 to intergovernmental agreement contract number CTR 055335-Gila County-Healthy People, Healthy Communities with the Arizona Department of Health Services to revise the scope of work, price sheet, and exhibit language in the amount of $389,063 from July 1st, 23 to June 30th, 24. Josh?
Right. So this item, and good, we're back to money again. We like money. 10% indirect, no cost to the county. There's no match. This covers a lot of our really good grants. So our community health assessment and community health improvement plan, both which Supervisor Humphrey sits on those with us usually, working towards the goals. So those are our two big plans that we look at all the data in the county, and then we do surveys out to the public, and then we have all these meetings, and we all decide whether the areas that we want to spend our money and how we best want to spend them. Looking at suicide, looking at opioid overdoses, and teen pregnancy prevention were the three that our county decided. And all that work comes from this funding. We pay for 3 full-time staff. Our teen pregnancy prevention funding comes from this Healthy People, Healthy Community grant, and our tobacco-free environment, or our tobacco programs, all the coalitions we do, when we go to the state for the tobacco conference, all the different things we do for trying to prevent tobacco and vaping in schools comes out of this as well.
Good. Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Christensen?
Thank you. No questions.
Good job. Thanks, Josh. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 3 to the Arizona Department of Health Service intergovernmental agreement contract number CTR 055335 in the amount of $389,063.
I will second that.
Presented.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. On to I, information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 1 to intergovernmental agreement contract number CTR 064793 with the Arizona Department of Health Services in the amount of $456,893 to provide workforce development strategies to strengthen the public health workforce and to revise the price sheet from December 1st, 22 through November 30th, 27. Josh?
Chairman Klein, members of the board, so I presented this item to the Board of Supervisors on August 1st, if it seems like deja vu. The reason it's back to the board is there is a creative way when you fill out your application for the different categories that you can budget your dollars for the grant. Most of the grants that we have in the health department allow at the end of the grant for you to do a 15% redirect between categories, but you can only redirect funds if you have money in each category. So we've always placed $1 of our budget in each one of the line items so that at the end of the grant, if there's money left over and you need to go to a conference or spend some money on a new laptop for the next grant period or something like that, you could. Now the Auditor General's office says that we can't do those $1 line items in all the different items anymore. So this just changes the price sheet from when I presented the item August 1st to just all that fund money being in one line item now instead of the $1 in all of them.
They have a way of dampening our spirits sometimes, huh?
They do. I try so hard.
Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Christensen.
No question, just keep the Auditor General happy.
Thank you, Josh. That entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve amendment number 1 to the Arizona Department of Health Services Intergovernmental Agreement, contract number CTR 064793 in the amount of $456,893 as presented.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Josh. On to J, information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 3 to intergovernmental agreement contract number CTR 055258 with the Arizona Department of Health Services for the funding of Title V Maternal and Child Healthy Arizona Families Initiative to revise the scope of work and the price sheet, which extends the contract for the period of July 1st, 23 to June 30th, 24 in the amount of $151,325. Good morning, Paula.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I brought with me today Patricia Johnson, who is one of the health program managers under this program, so she could give you some feedback on what these programs are actually been doing before you take a vote. I know we wanted to present just a few fun facts of Patricia actually started with us as a dental specialist in the health department and was quickly promoted into being a health programs manager because of the amount of work and the dedication that she put into dental. So I just want to give her the floor for a few minutes so she can kind of tell you what's going on with maternal and child health and the dental.
Thank you, Paula. You
Paula.
bet.
Good morning, Chairman of the Board and board members.
Hang on, can you hear all right?
I need
You
to
might have
sit
stand
louder.
right there,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, this is my first time.
No worries.
This MCH grant is the main grant for all our dental programs. In addition to the MCH grant, we also have Delta Dental of Arizona, and we also have Cavity Free Arizona. With these grants, we are able to go into Gila County schools and provide dental sealants to students while they're at the school, fluoride application, dental screenings while they're in the school. We take in all our equipment with us, and that way they're not, having to take the day off from school and miss school. With this, it does focus on children that do not have insurance and that usually that are on access. We also, with Delta Dental, we are able to go into the senior centers. We've been in Globe, Miami, Hayden, Payson, and looking to be in Pine. We do dental screenings for the seniors, also fluoride applications, education, giving them referrals. A lot of them are also, have low income or don't have dental insurance. So we are able to give them referrals to dental clinics that have lower fees. We have also been collaborating with community services with a grant that we had through Wildfire. in getting dental services for low-income citizens of Gila County. We've had quite a few come through, and we've had people complete treatment as far as something small to needing a couple fillings to full mouth reconstruction. We've actually had denture cases, people that have had the oral surgery, and it's all been completely paid for. So these dental grants have just been amazing. This has been a labor of love for me in building this program, and hopefully we can continue and grow. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey, questions or comments?
No, just thank you.
Supervisor Christensen?
Yes, thank you. And this, to me, goes back to what Josh was bringing up about dental health, how it's so linked with health outcome, and and those that don't receive the good dental health sometimes have a lot more problems
Right.
later in life. So, yeah, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
That I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 3 to the Arizona Department of Health Services intergovernmental agreement, contract number CTR 055258, in the amount of $151,325 as presented.
I will second.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Number 4K, information, discussion, action to approve road project agreement number 23R0110312000-276 between the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Forest Service, Tonto National Forest, and Gila County, as specified under the authority and provisions of the Cooperative Forest Road Agreement number 20-R0-1103, 1200-003, executed between the parties on February 5th, 2020, to receive an additional $500,000 to help fund the contract that covers construction work associated with paving Control Road FSR 64. Tom, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. So this is a request for approval to execute Forest Service Agreement 23-R0-1103-1200-276 between Gila County and the Tonto National Forest. Just quickly, some background information. Gila County entered into a forest road agreement back in February of 2020. So this agreement allows for cooperation between Gila County and the Forest Service for planning, survey, design, and construction of certain forest roads. This agreement allows for specific project agreements between the parties with the intent of completing work and building these projects as quickly as possible. On September 9th of 2022, Gila County entered into an agreement for paving of Control Road, also known as Forest Service Road 64, for approximately 1.03 miles in the Whispering Pines area. Due to an increase in construction cost and anticipated expenses, the Forest Service has given us an additional $500,000 for this project. So it is the recommendation of the Public Works Director to approve the road project agreement that will give us an additional $500,000 to complete this project. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Supervisor Humphrey?
Mr. Chair, I have no questions.
Supervisor Christensen?
Thank you. No questions. So an extra 500,000 sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Just real quick, Tom, when is this project gonna start?
It's currently in design, and we would like to advertise it this winter, and then we will start construction in the spring, say February, March timeframe, as soon as the weather is good enough to start, and then we want to wrap it up before the monsoon starts next year.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I will move to approve the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service Road Project Agreement number 23-RO-1103-1200-276 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. L, information, discussion, action to approve modification 001 to U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service Agreement Number 22-R0-1103-1200-184 to revise the scope of work, update administrative contacts, and extend the term of the agreement from 9/6/24 to 3/10/25. Tom?
Yes, thank you. So this is a request for approval to execute Forest Road Agreement number 22-RO-1103-1200-184. This will be modification number 1 between Gila County and the Tonto National Forest. Quickly on some background, Gila County entered into this agreement that's the same as the last one, February of 2020. This agreement, again, allows for us to work with the Tonto National Forest for designing and constructing roads. Forest Service Highway 512, also known as Young Road, is the main corridor between the Tonto National Forest and Gila County. It serves the area of Young. This agreement will extend the contract termination date from September 6th, this will extend the, let me make sure I got this right. It will extend the expiration date from September 6th, 2024 to March 10th of 2025. So additionally, it also revises the scope of work and updates some administrative contacts. So it is the recommendation of the Public Works Director that the chairman agree to this agreement, 22-RO-1103-1200-184, modification number 1, revising the scope of work, updating administrative cost, and extending the term of the agreement. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Christensen?
Thank you, Chairman. No questions.
So by extending this just gives us the right with the government to go in there and do more design work, whatever we need to do on these roads to keep moving forward.
Correct. So Kimley Horn, they gave us a target date of September of next year to complete the environmental assessment update. We're just, the Forest Service is giving us a little bit of additional time in case that needs to take a little bit more time to get that completed.
Okay, thank you, Tom. That I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve modification 001 to the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service Agreement number 22-RO-1103-1200-184 as presented.
I will second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
On to M, information, discussion, action to approve the use of Sourcewell contract number 032119-CAT for heavy equipment with related accessories, attachments, supplies, parts, labor, and purchases, and Sourcewell contract number 062320-CAT for rental of Caterpillar equipment with Empire Machinery and Empire Southwest LLC for a term from September 7th, 23 to September 6th, 24 with a not to exceed amount of $800,000 total for both contracts. Good morning, Homer.
Good morning, Chairman and board members. Every year we come to you to approve Sourcewell contracts with Caterpillar. Sourcewell is actually a government entity in Minnesota, and they were chartered to produce these cooperative purchasing agreements that they go out and compete. They offer competition on a nationwide basis. With Caterpillar is just one of many contracts that they have. They have contracts with across the board all the competitors for Caterpillars and across other industries as well. Many school boards and fire departments and other government agencies use these type of contracts. So what we're here for with the board is for you to authorize Public Works to use these two contracts, one for parts, labor, and equipment, and the other contract for rental of equipment. It's an example of the benefit that we get of using this contract. I'm buying a motor grader from Caterpillar. Depending on the type of motor grader, the discount is from 19 to 34%. And on the rental of the equipment, we get a 10% discount from the local rental rates here from the dealer. Okay, and these are examples of the benefit that we get. We've been using this type of contract over the years. Last year was $600,000. This year we're asking for us to have $800,000 available on these contracts. We are planning to buy three large pieces of equipment this year. And there are a number of transmissions that need to be fixed even right now as we look forward. So with that, we'd like for you to approve the motion as the motion that states that to approve the use of Sourcewell contract number 03-2119 dash CAT for heavy equipment with related accessories, attachments, supplies, parts, labors, and purchases, and Sourcewell contract number 06-2320 dash CAT for rental of Caterpillar equipment with Empire Machinery and Empire Southwest LLC for a term from September 7th, 2023 to September 6th, 2024, with a not to exceed amount of $800,000 total for both contracts. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Homer. Supervisor Humphrey?
Mr. Chair, I have no questions.
Supervisor Christensen?
Neither do I. Thank you, Homero.
So Homer, we've used this and in consent agenda items, we have one of them coming up for our motor grader that we have on a lease type purchase deal. Is that going that route with our larger pieces of equipment? Does that seem to be cost efficient or effective, or how's that working?
Actually, I would suggest that if her funding is available to buy the equipment outright, we should do that. And today we know that there is HERF monies available to buy equipment, so the equipment we're gonna be coming to the board to buy, the heavy equipment we're gonna buy it outright. The landfill is a different situation. We may wanna consider leasing based on the cash flow available to the landfill organization as an enterprise going forward. But it does cost us money to lease, okay? And if we don't have the money, perhaps that's a way to go, but there is a lease cost associated above the purchase cost.
Okay, thank you, Homer. That I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the use of Sourcewell contract number 032119-CAT and Sourcewell contract number 062320-CAT for a not to exceed the amount of $800,000 total for both contracts as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Homer. On to N, information, discussion, action to approve funding agreement number 306-23 between the Arizona Department of Housing and the Gila County Community Services Department. Housing Services to receive Home Investment Partnership Program funds and State Housing Trust funds in the amount of $440,000 to be utilized for owner-occupied housing rehabilitation from August 15th, 23 to August 15th, 25. Kaylee, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As you mentioned, this is a 2-year grant for for $440,000. This should cover approximately 5 projects for owner-occupied housing rehab. With this grant funding, we can do things such as roof repair, plumbing, electrical repair, and some structural modifications, with the main goal to meet current code standards for these homes for our qualifying individuals, and there is no matching requirement with this grant. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kaylee. Supervisor Humphrey?
Yeah, in putting these funds in an owner-occupied home, they have to stay in that home or agree to stay in that home for a length of time prior to being approved for the work to be done.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Christensen?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Kaylee. I don't have anything.
Kaylee, so you said we have like 5 projects? And so is there more projects out there waiting to be funded, or?
Oh yeah, we do have a waiting list, but this should cover 5. It may cover more if they don't. There aren't super high quotes for what our clients need, but 5 is kind of our ballpark for where we're at right now.
There's always a need.
There's always a need. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Arizona Department of Housing Funding Agreement number 306-23 as presented.
I will second.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. On to O. Information, discussion, action to approve a memorandum of understanding between the Gila County Housing Authority and the Gila County Homeless Task Force, the local continuum of care, to develop a prioritization plan for stability vouchers. Kaylee?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is an MOU between our housing authority, which is under community services, as well as our continuum of care, our homeless task force. The point of this is to collaborate to provide our 5 stability vouchers that we've received from HUD to assist households who are homeless, who are facing homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, human trafficking, or any veterans and their families who may be facing any of the above mentioned problems in their lives. So like I said, it is 5 vouchers, so we should be able to house 5 individuals or 5 families with this collaboration between my 2 programs.
Thank you, Kaylee. Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions.
Supervisor Christensen?
Thank you, no questions.
Kaylee, thank you. That I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve a memorandum of understanding between the Gila County Housing Authority and the Gila County Homeless Task Force as presented.
I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thanks, Kaylee. On to P, information, discussion, action to approve an intergovernmental agreement for election services between the Gila County Recorder's Office, Gila County Elections Division, and the Miami Unified School District to provide election services through December 31st, 26, with 1-year automatic renewals thereafter. Eric, good morning, sir.
Morning, Supervisor Klein, Chairman Klein, Supervisor Christensen, Supervisor Humphrey. This is just another intergovernmental agreement for election services where I was here last month. It's the same thing, just some verbiage was changed to update with the times and so forth, and pretty self-explanatory. You've seen it before, so any questions I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Eric. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Christensen?
Thank you, neither do I.
Thanks, Eric. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement for election services as presented.
I will second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Appreciate it, Eric.
Supervisors.
Q, information, discussion, action to adopt revised exhibits A and B and the revised schools detailed page of resolution number 23-08-02, which reflects a change in the tax rate and tax levy for Young School District number 5, the Tonto School District number 33, local aid for common schools, and the town of Miami, and direct the Gila County Treasurer to make corresponding changes in the affected tax bills. Good morning, Marion.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Supervisor Christensen, Supervisor Humphrey. Following our adoption of tax rates on August 21st, we were notified by the Young School Board that they wished to reduce their tax rate. That is reflected here. We also were notified by the town of Miami that they had changed their tax rate, which is reflected here. And we were notified by the Property Tax Oversight Commission that the computation of the Tonto Basin local aid for common schools exceeded its limit, so we went ahead and got that changed also. All 3 of those changes are included here, and to the best of our knowledge, we are still in time to get this to the printer for tax bills to not have to pass on the cost of reprinting to any entities.
Okay, Supervisor Humphrey,
Mr. Chair, I have no questions.
Supervisor Christensen.
Yeah, thank you, Marion. Marion, I have no questions either.
So we have three of them here,
Yes.
Maren, and the Young School is gonna reduce their taxes?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And the Tunnel Basin School District, what are they doing again?
So this is for the new type 3 school tax, where there's an additional tax for schools that do not have a high school within their district. The computation was more than this, and the Property Tax Oversight Commission came back to us and told us that it was limited to this 1.6549. Originally, the computation that we had come up with was 1.9784, and that was based on the way the legislature had passed the legislation, and the PTOC came back with a revision for us, so we have to change it.
Okay, and the town of Miami.
And the town of Miami, we originally adopted 4.4991, and the town revised their resolution to be the new rate of 4.4899, which results in a difference of about $300 of their tax levy.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Maren, so much for that, and I'd entertain a motion.
So they all went down, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, I'll move to adopt revised Exhibits A and B and the revised school details page of Resolution Number 23-08-02 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maren. On to our information, discussion, action to consider the sale of assessor's parcel number 206-22-020B to a Mr. Richard Taggart for the total lien amount of $609.68, and if approved, authorize the chairman's signature on the quitclaim deed. Sam?
Thank you, Chairman and board members. In June of 2009, the Gila County Treasurer deeded assessor's tax parcel number 206-22-020B to the state of Arizona, care of the Board of Supervisors. Prior to the Board of Supervisors annual auction in 2009 of state deeded tax parcels, the clerk of the board sent a letter to Richard Taggart offering him an opportunity to purchase the subject property before the Board of Supervisors annual auction because he met the requirements set forth in the statute. The subject parcel is located in Mr. Taggart's backyard, and he is the only contiguous property owner. Mr. Taggart did not respond to the offer in 2009, so on August of this year, Mr. Ari Ramras, legal counsel for First American Title, contacted the clerk of the board's office on behalf of Mr. Taggart regarding the potential purchase of the said parcel. Just before the board meeting, we did learn that Mr. Taggart is now deceased. First American Title wishes to proceed as with his heirs to still continue and purchase this property. The ultimate goal is for them to combine the two parcels and then sell. And I can take any questions.
Okay, Sam. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, is that gonna be a requirement that they tie the two parcels together?
Yes, sir, that is set.
Okay, no further questions.
Supervisor Christensen.
No, I don't have any, thank you.
So then, this Mr. Richard Taggart's name won't necessarily be on this quitclaim deed, or?
It will be First American Title as the grantee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, thank you. That I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to sell assessor parcel number 206-22-020B to First American Title on behalf of the Richard Taggart estate in the amount of $609.68 and authorize the chairman's signature on the quitclaim deed.
I will second that.
Having a motion and second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. On to S, information, discussion, action to approve economic development agreement number 08182-023 between Gila County and Northern Gila County Fair in the amount of $15,000 to educate adult and youth groups in Gila County regarding agriculture and livestock which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public. Steve?
Thank you. I'm not sure if Faith Lowry is with us today in Payson. I invited her. She probably couldn't make it. So Faith Lowry is, of course, the director for the Northern Gila County Fair and does an outstanding job along with all of her volunteers. The opening ceremony for the fair will be this coming Friday, the 8th, and I think that's at around 6 o'clock. So she's invited all of us to attend that. And this is just an annual amount of money that we do present to the fair to help them with their operational costs. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Supervisor Humphrey?
Mr. Chair, I have no questions.
This is the same amount we presented with them last year too, right?
Yes, and I couldn't tell you the source of the funding. Perhaps Mr. Menlove would be able to help us with that.
So is this coming out of your constituent fund?
No.
Okay, James, do you have anything you want to say?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is something that we budget for out of
Okay,
general fund.
that's what we did last year, the same thing. Yeah. Okay, thank you, James. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve Economic Development Agreement number 08182023 in the amount of $15,000, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Okay, number 5, consent agenda action items. Are there anything here that either one of you want to discuss separately?
No, sir.
Oh, I'm good, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 5A through 5M.
And I will second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Okay. On to call to the public, and we have some folks this morning that's gonna visit with us, but I'm gonna go through this real quick, and we're gonna hold to the terms of call to the public, so Jessica doesn't hammer on me. And that is, a call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address the Board of Supervisors on any issue within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, at the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual members of the Board of Supervisors may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the board and may ask staff to review a matter or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda for future discussion and decisions at a future date. Now, we have several folks that want to speak, so what we're going to do, we're going to set you up on a 3-minute time frame. You got 3 minutes, and then we'll move on. If there's a subject there that several of you want to speak on, it would help us if you just send up a spokesman or person that can cover the topic for all of you. That would be welcomed as well. So with that, who do we have first in Payson?
Jerry Heron. My name is Jerry Heron. I'm an Arizona resident and the founder of LGB Patriots, a nonpartisan, nonprofit group advocating for everyday gays.
Okay, hang on just a minute. Sam, did you get all that? So Joseph, we're having a hard time. Sam isn't getting, none of that's coming through.
Okay.
So, sir, if you just hang with us, it's important we get all of your information.
Kathy, could you recall us?
What'd you do, Sam?
Timer over there.
All right, can you hear us?
Yes. We
Okay.
can. Can you, Sam? Can you hear him? Okay, let's just tell us your name first and let's see if Sam can hear you, okay?
Yes, thank you. My name is Jerry Heron, Heron.
Okay, we're good. Go on with it.
Great, thank you. I'm an Arizona resident and the founder of LGBT Patriots, a nonpartisan, nonprofit group advocating for everyday gays, lesbian, gay men, and bisexuals who are proud patriots of the country which has given us our civil rights equal to all. We are not members of the so-called LGBTQAI plus community. Our gay pride colors are red, white, and blue, not rainbow. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. We do not pledge allegiance to the rainbow transgender banner. I'm here today to speak out against the planned public park Rim County Pride drag event and also to give a warning to Gila County Board of Supervisors. Rainbow Pride is poison, and the LGBTQAI plus so-called community has an agenda to pride every town in America, including Payson. Not satisfied with equal rights for all, they are pressing for special rights which include the right to public nudity, the right to public gay sex, the right to public kink. But when you assert those special rights, you take away the public rights to not be exposed to displays, behaviors, and performances against the values of a civil society. We do know that this, so how do we know that this is the Rainbow Pride agenda? So let's look at the evidence that they have provided for us. At gay shame parades this year, chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children." Gay Men's Chorus San Francisco created a song called "We're Coming for Your Children" with lyrics, "You think we're coming for your children, this time you are right, bit by bit, you will hardly notice it, we're coming for your children." Drag Queen Story Hour, which is a well-funded DC organization, wants to, and I quote, "celebrate the LGBTQ plus community in rainbow storytime, birth to age 5, and their favorite grown-ups can read books, sing and dance to topics that celebrate diversity and inclusion," unquote. The Rainbow Pride poison agenda here is to indoctrinate your children with shallow values of dress up, make up, and act up, which leads to choosing an identity, choosing a fluid sexuality, and most egregious, choosing from any number of fabricated genders. Therefore, one has to ask, what do childless homosexual men have any business performing what has always been gay adult entertainment to other people's children? I marched for gay civil rights in the late 1970s, for gay acceptance in a place in civil society. If you want a place in society, then you need to know your place in society, and it's not to turn society into a gay society. We never demanded other groups lose their rights in order for us to gain our rights. They are bullying society, and they are hateful bigots, homophobes, and anti-transgender if you do not allow access to kids with Drag Queen Story Hour events, permit streets festooned with rainbow transgender banners, and rainbow shame parades.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, who do we have next in Payson? Please come on up and state your name and where you're from. And
hi, my name is Amy Doggett. I spoke with you all last week. I'm also speaking on the drag shows again. My question, first of all, for all of you is, can someone on this board please explain to me when lewd, lascivious behavior in public places became freedom of speech? But preaching and praying on a street corner now in some cities is an arrestable offense. How did we devolve so quickly from our American moral values? So far, our small town has seen very little of either of these issues, but they are coming, and with one comes the other, unfortunately. This is happening in cities and towns all over the country as we speak, and I, for one, won't stand by and watch it happen, especially here. What I would very much like to know is if you are all so concerned about the rights and the gay communities of freedom of speech, why are you not equally as concerned about the rights and freedoms of speech for conservatives and Christians in this community. Let me explain something. First, lewd dancing in public is not freedom of speech. It never has been. It is called solicitation. The definition as such is moving in or drawing a force and an incitement or an allurement. Therefore, if I brought a stripper from the local adult bar that were dressed in a sexy attire, telling off-color jokes, dancing provocatively, and collecting tips from onlookers, whether that person took off their clothes or not, that would be considered solicitation. Where is the difference in this situation? And if that's the case, I'm assuming that Pete's Place in Star Valley is going to be open up to all ages from now on. But we all came to you here last week to ask you nicely for your help and try and get a special session in regards to this. So here's what's going to happen next. Since our emails to our district supervisor, Stephen Christensen, were summarily ignored, Freedom of Information Act and Public Records Act are being sent out to discover who on our local town council, county board of supervisors, and state government officials are accepting money from non-governmental organizations to push this agenda in our community and in our state. Because all insofar have chosen not to give us conservatives and Christians a voice and show evidence in special counsel that this behavior is completely inappropriate and unacceptable for our community and our children. When I do find who's involved, and all will be exposed, you will be lucky to hold another office again. You work for us and not the other way around.
Amy,
Thanks.
thank you. Okay, do we have someone else? Come on up and state your name and where you're from, please.
Hello, my name is Whitney Jones. I spoke to you all last week, the board meeting. I've sent you emails. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I agree that I would like there to be a special session or for this to at least be placed on the agenda for further discussion. I would really like to see an ordinance come for the entire county that protects the county from these kinds of displays being put on in public parks. I mean, there's a time and a place for all things, and a public park where children are, that's not the place for a drag show. And it just, the fact that our town is being strong-armed into letting it happen, there's no reason for it. So I'm going to submit to you a formal request to make this an agenda item, and I would really like you to consider it because you've been asked by more than myself to make it an agenda item, and we would like to discuss it. We would like to talk about how you plan on managing funds or allocating funds to the sheriff if this is allowed to continue, because they're going to need assistance, they're going to need help, they're going to need funding to do this. So all the way around, this is an issue that needs to be discussed, and it can't just keep getting passed along from person to person saying, well, it's not our job to oversee this. This is Town of Payson. It's not Town of Payson, though. This is Gila County. It's happening in Pine, and I assure you it will happen in your town soon if it's allowed to happen here. So that's all I really have to say. I would like this to be an agenda item, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have someone else?
Yep.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Kinney. I am a native to the state of Arizona. I'm 56 years old. Payson and Gila County and many of the areas of towns in Gila County have been a refuge, a respite from what goes on in the valley. I would like for it to stay that way. And I would challenge the members of this board, in the absence of these city council members not hearing the voices of the people that elected them. That's a dangerous place to be as an elected official. And not that I have any faith in our governmental systems or our elections anymore at this point, but the voices of the people that are here that took the time out of their days to say and to speak out on what they don't want and what they do want in their communities is something that must be paid attention to. Doesn't go away because you ignore it. In fact, things that are ignored only tend to abscess and get worse. So I would implore you to listen to the cries of the people that you represent and hear, give them an agenda item. They're not asking to take anything over anything else. They're asking for an opportunity for more people that are like-minded that have the same concerns to be heard. You owe them at least that. And again, take a look at what's going on in the city of Phoenix. And that homeless encampment downtown that is overrun and having to be mitigated, it's a short drive. And you don't want that in your small community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Hi, my name is Tina Terry. I'm a retired school teacher. I spent 25 years with elementary kids, middle school, and most of it was teens. Friday's edition of the Payson Roundup details a terrible epidemic amongst our teens of suicide, depression, just terrible mental problems. And as an ex-school teacher who spent so much time trying to help teens, I am imploring you to consider our children in what you make a decision. I agree with Whitney. We need to put this on the agenda. In the name of diversity, diversity has become a word that now includes perversity and inclusion of what? I'm originally from Hawaii. We're naked people there. So if I took off all my clothes today, would that be diversity? Would that be inclusion? Because I have the right to parade around in inappropriate fashion? Of course not. But you're talking about men, or I don't know if it's women or if it's just men, but I think it is. It's a show of perversity. And I live behind Pete's Place. Okay, we know what goes on there, and it's private. That's fine. Allow this to be in a private venue. But for this to be public is basically in your face by people who want to stir up trouble amongst young people. And as Jerry said, we're here and we're coming for your kids. I've seen videos of that. Okay, we need to protect our children. And I don't know where protect our children suddenly went by the wayside. Okay, but we now have agendas by groups that are deliberately trying to mutilate children physically and mutilate their minds and their hearts. And I really ask you, if you have children or you know children, like duh, who doesn't? You need to think of the effect that we adults have on them by allowing this kind of thing. Our children look to us and go, wait, this is okay with the adults? You can put this on in a public place? Well, it must be something that's okay. And that's what we're dealing with in this situation. I really ask you, in the law, it says failure to deny is deemed to permit. If you fail to deny this public display, then you are permitting it. And I really ask you to search your souls and see if that's what you want to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else?
Good morning. My name is Taylor Goss. I am a resident of Strawberry, Arizona. I was born and raised in Payson, Arizona. I'm 29 years old. I've spent 23 years of my life in Gila County living here. And I would also like to speak out in regards to drag shows or pride events, if you want to call them that. at our public parks. I do believe there is a difference between a pride event, a pride parade, a gay parade, and a drag show, which has been made clear that the intention of the organizers of this event is to put on a drag show in our public park. I grew up right next to Rumsey Park and was often able to go there with my friends if they were visiting me. I was in Forest Hills condos right across the street. There are plenty of children who are allowed to come to Rumsey Park on a daily basis without their parents, without a legal guardian, without somebody who can consent to them attending this event or seeing these displays or behaviors that we have been talking about. I think it's imperative that we protect our children from these displays because some parents may not be aware that it's even going on. Some parents may not know about this event. They may send their kids to the park that day unknowingly. And while I think that is, of course, a problem with parenting, it's also a problem with the presentation of these displays in public. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, good morning. My name is Carolyn Decker. I am a resident of Payson, Arizona, and I have been following the information I've seen on Facebook and other venues regarding this event that is about to take place. I want to bring to your attention, if you're not familiar, with the Arizona state statute that was passed on March 15th of 2023. Arizona State Senate amended statute SB 1028 in particular, which says, purpose, prohibits a person or business from engaging in adult cabaret performances on public property or in a location where the person's known or has reason to know that the performances could be viewed by a minor. I would suggest to everyone that this is exactly what we are talking about. This venue is within a very short distance of the children's playground, as well as the skate park, as well as very close to Payson Parkway and McLean. Children frequent Rumsey Park and those areas in particular quite often. This statute, I think, is very clear. It can be looked up. The provisions prohibits a person or business from engaging in an adult cabaret performance on public property or in a location where the person knows or has reason to know that the performance could be viewed by a minor, classifies a first violation as a Class 1 misdemeanor and a second or subsequent violation as a Class 6 felony, specifies that counties and municipalities are not prohibited from enacting and enforcing ordinances that regulate the location of adult cabaret in a manner that is at least restricted. Now, I don't have the information on, all the information on SB 1030, but I will tell you that what I have read is that this type of a performance, if you will, is not to be within a quarter mile of where children would normally be expected to frequent, such as a park or a school. And so I would suggest to you that is what is being potentially allowed is in violation of this statute which was passed. I think that when the information came out on Facebook, pretty quickly many people were writing of their feelings about this. The pictures that were placed on Facebook shows named parties in their full costumes, all ages, Rumsey Park, Rim Country Pride Drag, hosted by Danny R. and Judith Jackson. So I just want to push this out for your consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, and thank you, Supervisors Klein and Humphreys and Christensen. I'm Angela Godak. I'm a fourth-generation Paysonite, and I have been awakened, I guess you could say, in the last couple of years now to just a lot of things that are going on with our elections procedures. I'm part of the Gila County Election Integrity Team up here. We do have people down in Globe, also part of it. I want to encourage you to research, support, and educate yourself on hand counting of ballots. We have been doing that, and we have been practicing with a system out of Missouri. It's a hand count system. It is proven to us to be extremely easy, fast. The results can be usually within 12 to 24 hours if we can get it into the precinct areas to be voted that way, the elections. Then it can be done in probably 4 hours, and you'll have results that night. I would also encourage you to, I think you've been approached by a man by the name of Matthew Zaccardi, and also James Knox. They are part of the Cause of America, Arizona, and that is affiliated with the My Pillow guy, if you're familiar with him at all, Mike Lindell, who is spending millions and millions on election integrity and just exposing a lot of fraud with our election systems, the machines, which we just really need to get rid of. We need to go back to the old-fashioned way of doing the elections. I was part of a canvass of homes in 2021 for the 2020 election. We canvassed about 350 homes in the Payson area, Tonto Basin, Pine, Strawberry. We found probably 1 out of 3 homes had anomalies. 1 out of 4 of those people that we canvassed were disenfranchised. They were upset about it. They knew something was going on that's not right. There was 1 bare lot that we came across, not me personally, that had 7 voters that were registered there. There was countless people that had moved, some up to 8-9 years before that, and they should have been off the voter rolls. Many unknowns. There was many that were deceased for years. One had been gone for 12 years, and she was still on the voter rolls. I was also part of a 2023 canvass just a few months ago, and we found many anomalies there also. So encourage you to get with Dr. Douglas Franks, who is coming to Payson next Wednesday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Board of Supervisors, thanks for letting us speak. I think all of you know me, Jim Ferris. I live here in Payson, and I'm going to request that we have a work study meeting regarding election integrity. I've spoken to several of you before, and some of the response I heard when Wendy Rogers and Sonny Borelli and Mark Fincham spoke to you, that different administrators have gotten up from the Gila County administration group and just, oh, everything's fine. Yeah, Maricopa has problems, but we're okay. No, the system is broken. And you have to go back to, right now, the election systems and calculating, it's all part of the infrastructure, a critical infrastructure that the federal government has declared. So Homeland Security, the people that were the truth detectors wanted to be, this whole election system is under them. And I think you're pretty familiar with that department. And then they contract with the Center for Internet Security. which had groups that were funded by George Soros, part of that there. And then directly under them is the Election Infrastructure Information Sharing and Analysis Center. And again, nefarious groups, part of that. And what these people do, they contract and they'll go out to counties and say, oh, we'll provide you cybersecurity, internet security, all this stuff, but you have to provide us your passwords, all your network access and everything else. And everybody go, oh, well, this here, our machines, everything's just so totally, isolated from the outside world. It's not true. We need to do something. And there's audits all over the United States right now that are showing all the stuff that's happened, huge irregularities and just impossible anomalies in the data. And, I tried to contact and talk to our county recorder, our county director of elections, multiple repeated attempts. I was put off. The last one, oh, we don't have time till the end of September, maybe in October. That's not good enough. So what am I left with? I'm going to do FOIA requests. Something needs to be done to clean up these elections. And I found on the one of the election rolls, voter rolls, Richard Lee Butout. Yeah, Butout. He doesn't exist. This person, how many Richard Lee Butouts do we have in the roll? And what Angela was talking about, how many of those people do we have? Something needs to be done. We need a work study. You need to be brought up to date.
Thank you. Do we have one more? Come on up, Shirley.
Hi, Supervisor Christensen and Woody Klein and Tim Humphreys. I'm Shirley Dye. I live here in Payson, and I have been on the Gila County election integrity team for about a year. We've been meeting twice a month, and we have been receiving Zoom calls from experts across the state and out of the state explaining all of the different ways that elections can be compromised and people can be disenfranchised of their votes. Rural Arizona, we trust, is in way better shape than Maricopa County. But even down in Maricopa County, lately they have polled all their precinct committeemen, and 94% of them want to get rid of the machines in Maricopa County and go to hand counts. Now, one of the reasons I'm here today is because I have worked with Director Eric Mariscal and Sadie Bingham, the recorder, since 2010 as in my capacity as the precinct committee person for the Republican Party here. But our group is a nonpartisan group because we want every Democrat voter to feel as assured as a Republican or an independent that their vote is counted and counted correctly. We have heard, because of other groups that have been writing you and contacting you that are not a part of our active 9 to 12 people of our 24 or 25 people on our roster that we get with that are on Zoom calls from Young, even Navajo County and Apache County are having groups like ours that are doing canvassing and working on cleaning up their voter rolls. We want to have a good relation with you and not just make demands that like some people we hear are doing and sending you nasty notices and stuff. The non-governmental groups, we've got a list of 20 to 30, I didn't count them up, of groups that are working in Arizona, high-pitched, that are going to your County Recorder Association, your Election Directors Association meetings, and saying that we are terrorists and we are there to, totally destroy your elections. That's not what we want to do. We want to be working with you. We want to be heard. We would like to have our county attorney, Bradley Beauchamp, allow us the access to the cast vote records and the voter rolls that we need, but he's waiting on Santa Cruz County. And you have probably noticed there is so much corruption with the judges that are just putting off and putting off and putting off. So thank you very much for hearing us. We look forward to being able to meet with Sadie next week with a few of our people, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Go ahead. My name is Denise Bacon, and I'm here to also address about the drag show. The organization that's putting on this drag show, apparently the application that they filed it for less than 50 people that were going to be at this event. We've seen numerous Facebook posts and things that they're busing in people from the valley, not to mention the hundreds of people, possibly thousands of people that are in Gila County and Payson that plan on being there as well to protest it, do just a civil obedience and not any violence or anything like that. But as far as back to, yes, it's supposed to be less than 50 people. If there's going to be more people, that's going to cost the town of Payson money because you are going to need to utilize police officers, which comes out of our taxpayers' funds. You're going to have to need to bring in more porta potties and more trash receptacles and things like that to withstand a crowd that's going to be of this size. There's also that day, and I'm sure this was probably planned, but there is either a soccer tournament or soccer sign-up, so there is going to be a lot of kids that are going to be at this event or near this event and see this. And as everybody else has said, we have to do this to protect our children. That's all I got.
Thank you. Okay, that pretty much covers it, Joseph?
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for your comments and standing up there and talking to us. We appreciate that. Anything on YouTube? And we have one here in Globe, correct? And if you come up and state your name and where you're from.
Yes, my name is Greg Barsness, and I'm a resident here in Globe. I've been in Gila County over 30 years. I lived in Payson for a while. I also used to pastor a Baptist church, and I do missionary work still. Carry the Bible, read it every day. Bible says righteousness exalts a nation, sin is a reproach to any people. I'm part of the election team up in Payson that Shirley mentioned. I'm, I guess, the global representative of that group. So I've attracted to that, of course. I also have been a marshal here in Globe at the elections under Eric, the last 2 or 3 elections. I was flabbergasted that the Republicans didn't do better in the last election, and until I started reading, studying, watching YouTubes, watching Eric Lindell, reading news accounts from different news outlets, and I'm concerned, of course, about all that's happened and what's happening in our country, turning it over into a one-world government, one-world system, socialism, Marxism, and so I'm here to encourage you, and I know that you're going to have a meeting the 26th of this month to discuss the election things more thoroughly, SCR. So I allowed only 3 minutes here. I could talk to you for 30 minutes easily, but I'll just give you a little precursor of what we will be talking about maybe then, not just me, but other people. There are other people in our group here in Globe as well. Whether you know it or not, the national, the RNC just recently passed their support for some of these things that Shirley mentioned and these other members up there in the Globe, and that is paper ballots, hand count, a single-day election, precinct-level voting and counting, which can be done, by the way, and doesn't take months. Florida did it, and had excellent, organization. Wasn't any problems with it. The nation of France used to use computers they took them off of that. They do it as an entire nation. It can be done in our nation too. It needs to be done in every county. And I know that Gila County is, we do have paper counts when you vote by paper ballot. However, the tabulators, I'm afraid, haven't talked to Eric about this, but I think the tabulators are open to perhaps the internet. I'll be talking to him in the next week. But the tabulators are able to go on the internet. And I know I got to close this up in 10 seconds. The 26th, I want to show you YouTube of a man that goes in with a flash drive and can change the results of an election in about less than a minute. And that's been done all over the nation. In fact, in the last week, it's been done by the Democrats to even one of their own people in Hinds County, Mississippi. And I guess just to show you, it isn't just
Mr.
a
Chairman,
Republican matter.
we have concluded with our time.
Thank you,
All right,
sir. We
thank
got
you.
another one at the podium. Can you please state your name, where you're from?
Yes, my name is Carolyn Converti, and I'm from Payson, Arizona.
Okay.
I would like to speak to you today about the Pride event that's going to be at the park on September 30th at 6 p.m. It's going to be at Rumsey Park, and I was concerned about it being in a public place. I was told that they had been informed that they could do it at the rodeo grounds instead, but they said they preferred to do it in a public place where there's going to be children there. And so I'm concerned about it and would like to find out if there's a way that we can get it changed over to a place that's not going to be in front of the children.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, that's everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Come on.
Okay, Joseph, do we have one more? Okay, state your name and where you're from.
My name is Dinah Lundell. I live in Star Valley. So I have two items. The first is the Election Integrity Committee that I am a part of. If you listen to the people, you are servants of the people. We want one day paper ballots, the election certified that night. That's what the people want. The fraud that has been committed is proven and has evidence by the two-day event and demonstrations by many people, including Dr. Douglas Frank. He will be here next week. We want you to come to his presentation. Item number 2. This demonstration is absolutely the drag queen demonstration. Is absolutely anti-American. If you pledge your allegiance to this flag and to the Constitution, you are saying that you believe in righteousness, the honorable way that we treat each other as men and women and children of a free nation. This demonstration that will occur in Rumsey Park is socialistic. They want to demoralize us in every way. And it is wrong. It is immoral. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you have anybody else?
Nobody else.
Well, thanks everybody for being there this morning and talking to us. We appreciate that. That's what Call the Public's about. Unfortunately, under the rules, we can't really apply or address you, which really I don't like. But go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I did believe I heard my name, so if I could respond to that. One of the presenters, Amy, I think was her name, accused me of ignoring emails and questioned my integrity. I guess slandered my commitment, and I don't really understand that because I don't agree with the event that's coming up either. I can answer every one of the emails that I've gotten over it, and that is I don't agree with it either. You got to understand that the Gila County Board of Supervisors does not have jurisdiction over Ramada number 5 at Rumsey Park, which is a town of Payson park. Your focus should be at the town council level or the town manager level. Believe you me, if I had any authority in it, I would have acted on it. I would have led the charge on it. So please don't, and I appreciate no one else doing that, but please don't question our integrity because we're not jumping in and somehow usurping the jurisdictional boundaries that we have. That's all I have. Thank you.
Jessica, I want you to verify that just exactly what he said, because everything that they say is pointed to us as if we have any kind of rights over what happens in the property of Payson. Tell me, do we have anything sitting there that we have any authority over?
Supervisors, members of the board, unfortunately, I cannot answer that question at this time. This is not a topic that's on the agenda. Supervisor Humphrey and you supervisors may respond to criticism, but can be no discussions today in regard to this topic. You can instruct staff, however, to put it on a future agenda if you choose.
I'd like to do that because I want it out in public, because I firmly believe there's nothing we can do in an incorporated town. And I've always been led to believe that. That's why it's overseen by its own council. And I don't disagree with Supervisor Christensen at all. And it seems like for some reason, and I guess I, for one, kind of wonder why all the attention is to us as a county on this certain subject. So anyway, I would like to ask staff to double check, look at statutes, look at authorities, and then bring it back, and so we can clarify this once and for all, so that these folks will know that our hands are totally tied when it comes to something like that park in Payson. And I don't like it any better than Supervisor Christensen, but that's the way it is right now. So if staff could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Supervisor Humphrey, you got anything?
Yeah, I agree. I would like to address staff to look to see, and even if we did pass an ordinance for the county, because the city of Payson, city of Globe, town of Miami are in Gila County, Winkleman, Hayden. I don't know, even if we did pass an ordinance for Gila County, that it would be included in city limits of a particular town or city unless it was adopted by the mayor and council. And so, yes, I would like that to be known. Even if we did pass an ordinance, it would be for county, but I'm not sure that it would be inside city limits that are inside the county. And so I would like to direct staff to look into that for perhaps a work session. And so that's all I have.
I'm totally for a work session on this topic too. We sat here and we have things pointed at us, and our lips are kind of tied where it's really hard sitting here chewing. I don't think I have much left of the lip. So thank you for being here, Jessica. Otherwise, I don't know. Anyway, but in a work session, we do have the ability to talk about whatever the topic is. So I would really like to see us somehow, Mr. James, that me and you work on something to get this up. And when that happens, the one thing I will ask is that everybody stays civil and respectful, and we hash it out and go on. With that, I'm going to go on. Number 7, at any time during this meeting pursuant to ARS 38431.02K, members of the Board of Supervisors and the county manager may present a brief summary of current events. No action may be taken on the information presented. James?
Mr. Chairman, something from a few weeks ago, that on July 26, 2023, a letter was addressed to Miss Melanie Mendez, our recycling and landfill manager, from Karen Peters, the ADEQ director for the state of Arizona. In the letter, it says, "I'm pleased to appoint you to a 3-year term on the Arizona Recycling Advisory Committee, ERIC, as a political subdivision representative pursuant to statute. We are excited by the overwhelming response from the Arizona community members, businesses, organizations that wish to participate in the ARAC with a wide variety of impressive and valuable experience." I wanted to acknowledge Ms. Mendez in her appointment to the Recycling Committee for the state of Arizona. Shows the talent and capability that she has, everything that she brings to Gila County. Her talents are being utilized throughout the state in this appointment by the ADEQ director. So thank you, Ms. Mendez, for what you contribute to Gila County and to the state of Arizona. Last week I attended the League of Arizona Cities and Towns, a conference that they have annually. A lot of good opportunity to meet with cities and towns from Gila County. We had representatives there from Star Valley, Payson, Miami, Globe, and Hayden Winkleman area. That is a good time to be able to sit down with them and meet with them, discuss their issues and things that are going on. So it's a lot of my focus in going to that was housing development, housing that we can do for residents of Gila County, and some exciting things that we can go forward on. Tomorrow we'll have a meeting with CAG on the Gila County Public Transportation Authority, Intergovernmental Public Transportation Authority, again to discuss an IGA that we can have going forward in developing a countywide public transportation authority that we will be bringing an IGA hopefully to the Board of Supervisors and the rest of the communities in Gila County in the next 6 months or so. In 2 weeks, I will be attending a conference that is about budgeting, and one of the things I want to bring to your attention is that it's about priority-based budgeting, something that I've long had an interest in, that as we go forward, we can look at different ways that we can focus on where our budget is and where it goes. If we've got a lot of things, most everything that we do is required by statute, and some of those things, maybe they are a low priority to citizens, and so we can find different ways to be able to allocate resources or allocate or deliver those services to public. If we can do something electronically, telephonically, or digitally through in delivery of service, because it is not something that's like a pothole in the road or public safety, those types of things that may require more individuals, that we allocate our resources as the Board of Supervisors to those that we have to, because even as budgets become tighter, that becomes even more relevant, that we have to allocate resources where they need to go. And that means reducing a lot of times the budget that goes to services that can be delivered alternatively. And then wanted to let you know that that week on September 20th through the 24th is the Gila County Fair. We do have Bianca Arelan, who is a Gila County staff that is working directly with the Gila County Fair, Inc., and working to make sure that the county is supporting the Gila County Fair and delivering the fair, and working towards that to make sure everything goes great. So September 20th through the 24th the Gila County Fair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, James. Supervisor Humphrey?
Well, I just got a Tonto Basin meeting tonight at 5, and I believe coming Monday, I got a meeting at Roosevelt, and then be on the radio, and then Miami Town Hall meeting. So just meetings and out in front of the public to get as much information as I can on what I need to be doing and what direction they want us to go. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tim. Supervisor Christensen?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. So I just want to re-mention the fair starting on Friday in northern Gila County. Other than that, I really don't have anything to present. Thanks.
I don't either. It was a busy week in other areas, but I wasn't in any meetings. But coming up on Friday, me and Kathy will be in Payson. There's a breakfast. What's the name of that breakfast? Cactus Navy breakfast. We'll be attending Friday morning. Reagan Day lunch is at 11 o'clock, I think, for noon at the Mazel Casino, and then the opening for the fair up there. So I'll be there then and see what else comes up in the meantime. Is there anything else we need to be thought of? We good? Okay. Moving on to number 8, executive session items. Information discussion action to vote to go into executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03 A3 and 4 to discuss a pending offer of judgment and potential settlement in Southwest Gas Corporation, a California corporation versus Arizona Department of Revenue and Agency of the State of Arizona, counties of Cochise, Gila, Graham, Greenlee, La Paz, Maricopa, Mojave, Pima, Pinal, and Yuma, each of which is a political subdivision of the state of Arizona, and it's TX 2021 through to 000366. Jeff Dalton will lead the charge on that, but I need a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I move to convene into said executive session.
I'll second that.
Having a motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thanks all. We'll be back. Okay, I'll bring this back in order and call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that our attorney proceed as directed in executive session.
And I will second that.
Having a motion and second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. And with that, I believe we're over and I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.